get set for the week's top 30. What's going on? I'm Morgan Wallen, and these will play that song and more as I count down the hits with Lon Helton of Country Air Check. Right now, here's Lon with the week's hottest song.
Well, thanks, Morgan. And our radio stations give the honor to Kane Brown and the week's hottest song, One Mississippi. And we're going to find out if Kane has the number one song in the USA a little bit later on Country Countdown USA. Each week, I'm joined by a top country star who stops by to get me hand counting down the hits along this week. For the first time in more than a year is Morgan Wallen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing,
Good,
Lon?
man. It is so great to have you here because this almost didn't happen. Last weekend, you were supposed to begin the new tour, and then the ice and the snow hit, and you had to cancel a couple shows, and you were going to go from those shows to New York City and Madison Square Garden for a couple of shows, so you're going to go there. And then, like I said, the ice and snow hit, canceled, so here we are. And I'm really glad because I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, too. Obviously, it's I wanted to play those shows, too, but I know that we've got those rescheduled and back on the books. Hopefully everyone that was planning on coming still gets to get that chance. But that's just kind of what the choice we were left with. It was getting pretty nasty out there, so we just decided to do it. And, yeah, it's a little disappointing, but,
well,
it is what it is.
You gotta go on the side of say. Scotty McCreery leads off the week's top 30. That's damn straight. We're counting down the hits here with Morgan Wallen. Your latest hit, top 5 right now, Sand in My Boots. Tell me about the first time you heard this.
Yeah, Hardy actually sent it to me on my birthday.
What a present.
Yeah, it was, yeah, no kidding. And I knew it was special, the first listen. Just a work tape on his phone, a voice memo. There was no production, no nothing, just him and Ashley and Josh singing.
And I'm curious to interrupt you for a second. The first line leads me to ask, did they write this for you specifically, or did you change it to include the little town outside of Knoxville?
Well, yeah, I think he had originally put Jackson in there or something. He put his Mississippi thing on it, but I don't know. It seems like he wrote it for me. I mean, he sent it to me, I think, the day that he wrote it. I don't know. I never did ask him if he specifically wrote it for me, if they just wrote it. Knowing Hardy, he probably just wrote it, and then at the end was like, I think Morgan should have this, maybe.
So did it come to you with Knoxville in the lyrics?
No, it came to me with Jackson, and then like the chorus.
You changed it. Okay.
The chorus said Mississippi instead of Eastern Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Certain things, that I'm obviously not going to sing just because it's not.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, I as soon as he sent me that. Obviously, when Hardy sends me something, I'm gonna listen. But this one felt super special, and to hear it raw and just on the piano, the way that it was in the voice memo, I just felt like it should stay similar to that, and we tried to keep it, pretty close to that.
Lauren Elena and John Party at number 28. That's Getting Over Him. My countdown co-host this week is Morgan Wallen, and I want to talk about something that you took part in last July here. I think it was actually the first concert that I had attended since COVID began, and that was the Luke Bryan show here in Nashville last July. Luke brought out Tyler Hubbard and Jason Aldean, and then you. I've probably seen 10,000 concerts in my lifetime. I don't remember anything as loud as when you came out.
Yeah, I just got chill bumps thinking about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a special. It's like, I knew it was going to be big because the fans, as you saw by the sales of your album when it came out, have always been there with you. So I was not surprised, but I don't think I expected that.
Same. I wasn't nervous for the fans. I've always, felt really comfortable and thankful for them. But yeah, they definitely overwhelmed me with that response. It was awesome.
Did it take you back for a second?
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah? Just pause a second?
Yeah, I did. You just try to, after so long of, everything going on, I just wanted to feel the joy of that moment. It was really, really, really great.
Well, as I mentioned, it was such. McGraw up one to number 25, 7,500 OBO. We're counting down the hits here with Morgan Wallen. And a bit ago, we talked about you coming out to join Luke Bryan on stage during his Nashville show last July. And to be honest, when I was talking to Luke, he was here a couple of weeks after that concert, and I asked him just if he had any concerns for either himself or Jason or Tyler about you being on that show. And here's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, do we do that to Morgan? Do we do that to me? Is Morgan ready? Am I ready to potentially hear some fallout? And the most beautiful part of the night, which I'm totally letting you guys, the fans, and you, Lon, I huddled Tyler and Jason up before the show, and I said, guys, what do y'all want to do? Because when we get Morgan out, we know the news stories are going to go flying. And we were all three said, hell yes, let's get him up.
That's definitely Luke, man. He's been a good friend to me for a long while now. Hell, so is Jason and Tyler. They've both been good to me as well. You know, it was something I just found out that Luke was playing. I hadn't even, I think I just wore what I had. Like, I don't even think I got really dressed up for it. I didn't even get dressed up for it or anything. And then I was talking to Carrie Edwards, his manager, and I said, hey, I saw Luke's playing. I may come by and watch, if that's okay. And she was like, yeah, that's all, that's fine. And, when I get there, and Luke's like, hey, buddy, you want to sing one? I'm like, yeah, I would love to. So we ended up singing a couple, but yeah, I mean, I'm with him. There was a little bit of nervousness for me and also for him. I didn't want to put him in a bad spot. And obviously I don't want to put anyone in a bad spot. So he asked me, and that was a no-brainer.
Number 23, best thing since Backroads. Morgan Wallen along as our countdown co-host this week. We talked at the top of the show that originally we weren't going to be able to get together, but then you had a couple shows canceled due to the ice and snow in Evansville and Allentown. And that was going to be a warm-up to heading 2 shows in Madison Square Garden. And as we talk, it's the Monday before, so you haven't done those yet. But I thought, oh, man, it's like starting at 180 miles an hour instead of ramping up with a couple of shows. And it's like starting your year at the Daytona 500, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they all feel like the Daytona 500 to me. For me, Evansville is just as much pressure as Madison Square Garden. It doesn't make no difference. I know the icon that Madison Square Garden is, but they're the same fans that fill those buildings that they are in Evansville. So I'm going to put the same effort for it there that I would have in Evansville.
Keith Urban at number 20, Wild Hearts. We're counting down the hits this week with Morgan Wallen. And a little bit ago, we talked about the Luke Bryan concert here in Nashville last July when he had you out on stage as a special guest. Also there was Jason Aldean, who came in to do the countdown not too long afterwards. And of course, we talked about that night.
So when I walked in, Luke said, hey, I think Morgan's coming tonight too. What do you think about getting him up with us? And I'm like, yes, absolutely we should. And he goes, all right. And so Tyler came out, then I came out, and man, I'll tell you this, when we announced that Morgan was coming out, I've been on stage pretty much my whole life, and I don't think that I've ever heard a crowd pop the way that happened when he walked on stage. So it was it was a really special night, man. It was a cool moment, night, and it was a lot of fun.
So he agrees.
Yeah.
It was loud.
We're all in agreement. It was loud and fun.
So what was it like after the show backstage? Did you hang around after the whole thing, or did you?
Yeah. We all talked and hung out for a little bit, before everyone headed home. But I mean, it was just a lot of that same thing, just smiles and talking about how special that was, I mean, I've never experienced anything like that, especially not with my friends, not on stage. So you don't know when anything's going to happen like that again. You don't even know when you're going to get a chance to be on stage together again, So it was just, it just felt like we were all really trying to live in that moment for a little while afterwards.
And we'll talk more about it later, but after what you had been through in last year, what did that say to you about the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know, I feel like they understand me, I feel like they understand my heart, that my heart is not the way that some people try to paint it to be, Obviously there's things that I would take back or I would do differently, but there's certain things that people...
That's Hardy at number 18, Give Heaven Some Hell. We're counting them down with Morgan Wallen. Hardy, of course, is out with you on the Dangerous Tour this year. Had a hand in writing a number of songs on your album, including Sand in My Boots. How far back do you go with Hardy?
Yeah, me and Hardy, we've been friends for a while, too. I'd say it's probably 2017. We just had someone scheduled us a write together, me, him, and Jameson Rogers, actually. And, there's a couple people that just stood out to me, but no one like him. No one stood out to me like he did. So I just knew immediately that there was something really, really special.
What is it? What is it?
I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. It's just something God gave him. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, his way with words is just so effortless, there's certain parts of songs that are really that are the hardest to get, at least to me, and he just makes those parts easy. You know, whether it's the line going up into the chorus, that's really, really important to set that up, what you say next. He's always really effortless at that. Whether it's the line that goes right before the hook, that's also really, really important. He's always on top of that, and it just comes so easily to him. You know, it's pretty incredible. And you know, and for me, I like to think that I'm a decent songwriter, and I get to feed off that, and it makes my job easier. You know, anytime you surround yourself with other talented people, it just makes everything so much more simple. And I think that's why, you know, that I've been really fortunate to get around guys like him and Ernest and you know, other folks that I really feed off of.
Yeah. Well, of course, we've been talking about your buddy, songwriter, and now artist, Hardy, who is there at number 18. As on me. Dierks Bentley, along with Breland and Hardy at number 15, Beers on Me. My co-host this week is Morgan Wallen. We talked a lot about Hardy a few minutes ago, and here he is. We've talked about what a great career he's having. He's got number 18 and number 15, right? But I want to talk about Dierks a little bit, because you guys did a benefit show together last year, flood relief for Nashville, that you raised like $725,000. That's incredible.
Yeah, man. I had the idea. I just saw a couple things on the news that were just you know, broke my heart. So I immediately reached out to my team and said, hey, you think we could throw something together real fast? I'll start reaching out to, you know, to whoever and see if they can do it. Dierks was one of the first people I reached out to. He was in automatically. I really appreciated him doing that, you know, it was really, really short notice. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 days, something like that, you know, that we threw that show together. And yeah, just obviously a terrible, catastrophic event that was really close to here. You know, it didn't affect me personally, but I saw it, you know, and got to hear some stories, and just wanted to do you know, as much as I could to help in a quick amount of time to get them some support that they needed.
That's great. That's fabulous. And I think, you know, when you reach a certain level of being famous, that's the kind of stuff you need to do.
Yeah,
think,
no doubt. You know, I guess I'm still it's still weird to think about that I have that kind of, you know, that kind of reach, that kind of power to help. But, yeah, I definitely want to do good things with it.
I love it. Back to the countdown here with Morgan. Cody Johnson up 1 to number 12, Till You Can't. We're here counting down the hits this week with Morgan Wallen. Up next, the latest from Eric Church. And of course, we've got to talk about Eric.
Yeah.
Played some shows with Eric. I think you did one here in Nashville. Was it the soft opening of Justin Timberlake's club here in town? You and Eric played?
Yeah.
And then I saw some video, too, of Eric's show in Philadelphia. And he brought you out on stage. And you guys have a song together on your album, Dangerous, called Quitting Time. So it sounds like you guys are getting to be buddies.
Yeah, we are. You know, it's been I don't know exactly when it was that we started hanging out. We went on a golf trip together and ended up fishing during the golf trip. But obviously our games weren't too good. But no, we did both. We went on a golf trip, and I kind of started developing.
What a trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, we started hanging out then, you know, we just became buddies. I guess we kind of have a similar attitude or whatever it is, you know. I know that he doesn't really publicly come out and have a lot of buddies, you know, so it's and he's always been like my country music hero. You know, he's one of the main reasons that I sing country music. Some of his songs, when I first really started getting heavily into country music, it was his songwriting and the way that he painted the pictures that made me want to do the same. So it's really cool to consider him an actual friend now. I've just always admired him. You know, I saw him in Knoxville when I was living in that area. I saw him in 2014, so a year before I moved here. And I just saw his passion and, there was just something different about the way that he approached the whole thing. And you could just feel how much it meant to him, you know.
Yeah.
It's unreal to me, you know, to think about that, you know, at 8 years ago, that 20-year-old kid sitting in Thompson Bowling Arena just being so in tune with what he was doing, you know, and so fired up. It's pretty crazy to think 8 years later, or 7 years later, I guess at that point, that I'm up there on that same stage, you know, with him and getting to share in those moments with him. So it was. I think he knows. I hope he knows how much that meant to me.
Elle King, along with Miranda Lambert, up 1 to number 10, Drunk, and I Don't Want to Go Home. We're counting down the hits here this week, along with Morgan Wallen. Current hit, of course, is Sand in My Boots. I want to talk about something else, though. I spent a week recently in Phoenix, And they're two great country radio stations in Phoenix. Listen to them both a lot.
That's the first time I ever heard my song on the radio was in Phoenix.
Really?
I'll never forget it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I probably heard Whiskey Glasses 50 times in a week between those two stations.
Probably.
You know, I mean, it was like, whoa.
It seems like it's one of those songs that's just going to be around, you know, on the radio, and just obviously in my career, it's going to be around forever.
Well, that's what was amazing too. The place where I work, Country Art Check, we compile a yearly list of just the top gold records, not the current music. And Whiskey Glasses is number one. It's the most played gold song. So
that's pretty wild.
But that's got to feel good too. Just again, looking back at the last year, the way the radio has really come back to play your music as much or more than ever.
Yeah, it has. You know, obviously, whenever everything's going on, you worry about, you know, is everything gonna ever be, you know, the way it was, or are people gonna just completely shun me? You know, you don't know. So it's been awesome to see. It's really felt good to me. So I appreciate.
Column up one at number 7, To Be Loved by You. Morgan Wallen is along as my co-host this week, and in a little bit I want to talk about just what you've been through in this past year. But I want to take you back to that Luke Bryan concert we've talked to a bunch of times, and sitting there watching after you were done with your solo shot. There was a cooler on stage, and Luke and Tyler and Jason, you were all out there and having some beers and having fun, and it was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously I was pointed out toward the crowd, and they're sitting behind me, but, you know, you look back a little bit and you see some of these people, you know, who have been doing it for, you know, a lot longer than you, who you look up to, who you support, and who you really, you know, find inspiration from, and you see them back behind you, just, you know, showing that kind of love and that kind of support for you. It was a special night for me, for sure.
I guess it was Luke who said, "I've never had more fun in my life," and I believed him when he said it. All you guys looked like you were having a big time.
Yeah, it was definitely up there.
Kane Brown and the week's hottest song at number 5, One Mississippi. Morgan Wallen is along as my co-host this week, and up next at 4 is Jimmy Allen along with Brad Paisley. And as I understand it, Jimmy reached out to you in the last year.
Yeah.
Chatted a little bit. That had to feel good just to get
no doubt
his support.
Yeah, me and Jimmy have been friends pretty much ever since we met, you know, and we stay in contact constantly. I actually saw him at the mall the other day. That's the last time I saw him, but yeah, I've been friends with Jimmy for a while, you know, and he publicly came to my defense, and, you know, had nothing but, you know, obviously, you know.
Jimmy Allen and Brad Paisley once again at number 4, Freedom Was a Highway. My co-host is Morgan Wallen, and we now come to your song at number 3, Sand in My Boots. So what was it that got you right away in this song?
Just a story, I think, you know, like it just immediately pulled me into what was going on.
How do you handle this in your show?
Well, so far, last fall, I was opening the show with it, which was, I think, pretty unexpected, you know, for
you at the piano?
Just me and the piano.
Oh, wow.
Opening it. And I'll probably keep that up, you know, just trying to look for different ways to incorporate it. But I'm so used to running out and you know, acting rowdy. It's just a completely different, you know, I think people have a lot of different expectations for how I'm going to open it, but I like that, you know. It gives me a chance. It kind of gives me a chance to just look around and, you know, and breathe a little bit and just say hey to everyone and just take in the moment.
Chris Stapleton once again at number 2, You Should Probably Leave. We're counting down the hits here with Morgan Wallen. I really want to talk to you about the last year and going forward, kind of where you're at, how you're feeling, and just kind of, I guess, the place you're at right now in terms of what you've learned about yourself in the last year, kind of what you did to learn more. Because obviously all human here, we all make mistakes.
Right.
Most of us are lucky enough to not make our mistakes in public.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that maybe you've done in the past year that you look back, oh wow, that was really an important part of my process?
Yeah, I mean, I think just trying to reflect as much as I can on myself and my behavior. You know, I think no matter what my intentions were or whatever, you know, was the situation, I know that I've realized that the position that I'm in, I have a lot of influence, and a lot of my words carry a lot of weight. You know, I didn't always know that, but over the last year or so, I've definitely learned that. it's just important what I say, you know, and no matter how I meant it or who was around me or who was accepting of it or who's not, you know, if there's one person that can be offended by my words or that I can negatively impact someone's life, I think I've realized that that's not okay, you know. I know I've realized that that's not okay. But there's been a lot of people who have been really kind and gracious to me. You know, I'm not going to go on a name mentioning tour right now or anything like that. But there's been a lot of people behind the scenes who have made me, you know, want to do good and be better. I got a son who I want to be a good role model for. Most importantly, I was lucky enough to have a great dad who I got to look up to growing up, and a great mom. So I want to make sure that I you know, follow in those footsteps and be someone he can be proud of. Yeah, you know, I think I'm just trying to continue to be better every day and you know, not let everything that I hear, you know, get in the way of that. I know that a lot of people have a lot of opinions of me, you know, and I'm never going to probably get everyone back just based off just what happened. But I'm going to do everything that I know how to do to make sure that over the course of time and over the course of my career that one mistake is not what, you know, defines me.
Right.
That's not who I am. I'm not gonna let that be the case. You know, everyone can say whatever they want to, but I'm going to continue to live my life and to do things that show that that's not the man that I am or the man that I want to be, and that's all I know to do.
Well, along with Morgan Wallen, we'll head on to the number one song. 30 country hits in the USA is compiled by Country Air Check. We've been counting them down here with Morgan Wallen, and it's so nice now to be able to say, folks are back on the road. You got some dates where people can come and see the Dangerous Tour.
Yes, sir. We're going to be in Columbia, South Carolina on the 24th. We'll be in Savannah, Georgia on the 25th, and Greenville, South Carolina on the 26th. Then we'll be in Biloxi, Mississippi on March 3rd. Bossier City, Louisiana on the 4th, and Oklahoma City on the 5th.
Of course, the current top 5 hit is Sand in My Boots. Love the song. Best luck with that as always, man. Great to see you. Thanks for helping me count down the hits.
Thank you, Ron.